Right, okay guys, welcome to another computer and video games look at. Basically the idea behind this feature is I just read through an old magazine and just talk over it. So yeah, this is Zzap 64 now. I know I've already featured Zzap, but I mean Zzap was one of the most iconic computer magazines which came out in the 80s and 90s. So I think it would be a shame not to feature that again. I did look at a Christmas special. I think it was one of the first sort of videos that I made. So yeah, this is Zzap number 8, released in December 1985. That was Zoids on the front, I think it was. And what have we got there? David Crane interview, direct from America, conversation with the programmer, who's almost as interview shy as a pet person. Also feature a Zzap and CompuNet get together. BattleX, Minter's latest is a classic, and also Saberwolf the map. So without much further ado, let's dive in and see what all the fuss is about. Right, okay, in page 2 you've got a really nice advert for Rambo First Blood Part 2 that was released by Ocean. And that always annoyed me as a C64 owner, and I dare say Amstrad owners as well. The Spectrum was £7.95, the Commodore 64 and Amstrad one was £1 more. Why is that? That isn't fair. And contents, what have we got? Editor was Roger Keane still, Gary Payne was assistant editor, Sean Masterton, software reviewers Julian Rignall, Gary Liddon, staff writer Lloyd Mangrum. And hot games for December: Scarabius, Fight Night, Battlelinks and Ace. And we've got an interview with David Crane. When the music stops, Uncle Gary will be here to speak to you, regressing to his happy childhood. Gary Payne looks at some attractive games for the younger crowd. So, the infamous Scooby-Doo and the Castle Mystery. Now, this game, it was, what would we call it? It was probably the Duke Nukem of the 8-bit. In other words, it was a game which was hyped beyond belief, and it never actually came out. It did eventually come out, but it was not the game that we thought we were going to get. Now when you look at the graphics at the side here, it was basically kind of going to be touted. Well, in fact, you know what we'll do? We'll just read out exactly what it says here. Scooby-Doo, the first ever computer cartoon. Whether he's being highly pursued at midnight over an eerie castle rooftop or scrabbling around in the darkness of a creepy old dungeon, the hapless Scooby is always at the centre of the action. In his first computer cartoon, Scooby goes hurtling through underground caverns in a runaway coal truck and finds even a leisurely... What's that? Paddle with Shaggy and a rickety old rowing boat can turn out to be a... I can't even read any more of that, but yeah, basically if you look to the side there, you'll see some of the really pretty looking graphics, screenshots. So it was basically, yeah, it was going to be an interactive cartoon. And sadly, the resultant game was just a generic platformer. Don't know why it was never released. Was it just possibly it was going to take too long, or did they not think it was capable of doing it? But you look at the graphics, really nice. It's just a shame it never actually came to anything. We're doing change pages. There we go. The ultimate brain drain Paradroid. 7. See, that was cheaper. That was £7.95. There's Gribbly's Day Out, which was Andrew Braybrook's first game, and Heathrow ATC for the BBC Electron. Right, let's have a look at the Zzap editorial. Is a goose fat getting fat? Not goose fat, is a goose getting fat? Here we are once again on the eve of Christmas, traditionally a season of goodwill, feasting, contemplation and extraordinarily spending. It's a big spend, can't even read properly, it's a big spend that most commercial organisations have their eyes on. The few weeks of the year when the software and hardware business makes or breaks for the forthcoming fiscal period. Last year the predictions were it would be a Commodore Christmas, and most companies spent the biggest slab of their budgets advertising games for the C64. The pundits were wrong. Once again, it was a Sinclair Christmas, and it left software houses floundering with unshifted 64 stock and poor balance sheets from a lack of Sinclair games to sell. The next issue of Zzap number 9 is something special because it's our Christmas special. It's going to cost a little bit more, £1.25, blimey. But you'll be getting a lot more as well, all sorts of goodies to while away those deadly post-turkey and all the trimming hours watching The Sound of Music for the 10th time. I've got to say, there was something really special about getting a computer magazine at Christmas. Because, I don't know, it made Christmas feel Christmassy. It was always extra thick with all the games that were coming out. It was always a really, really nice time. Advertisers Index. We don't really need to look at that. We'll just see it when we get to it. Right, Scarabius. I think this guy here, Sean Masterton, looks awfully like Gary Newman. Now this was a game that I could never really figure out how to play. But you know what, I have revisited it, and it's graphically wise, it's excellent, and it's got amazing sound, and it's got this really, really scary sort of heartbeat. It really was a genuinely quite a, I wouldn't say disturbing game, but it was actually quite a scary game when you consider, it was 8-bit. What's Julian Rignall saying? This is a really superb aardvark variant with the most realistic and gripping atmosphere I've ever encountered. The music is superb, but toggling to sound effects give some of the best and most apt sound effects ever programmed on the C64. The actual game itself is a mite confusing when you first play it, but very easy nonetheless, allowing you to relax and really get to know the feel of the control system and the way the map works. Gary Penn seemed to like it as well. So presentation 90%, superbly produced game with brilliant film-like opening sequence, graphics 96, sound 98. Yes, 96 overall, and it wasn't even a gold medal, it was only a sizzler. If you've never played the game, it is certainly worth checking out. It's a lovely, lovely game. Fight Night, I do remember reading this article. Yeah, this was a preview of a game which, looked amazing. It really did. And I remember when it arrived, I was quite disappointed in the game. Yeah, the graphics were nice, but it was very basic. I always thought that the best boxing game on the C64, without a shadow of doubt, was what do you call it? Barry McGuigan's Boxing. That was excellent. So yeah, Fight Night it had lovely graphics. I mean, it had a construction kit. But when it actually came to, I think that was possibly the Atari 800 version. You can see there the colours different. Looks amazing, but yeah, it never really lived up to the hype. Battleix. Again, it gets a sizzler. What was the final score? I don't know what it is. For those morons out there expecting us to slag off Battleix, tough luck mateys, we don't bear grudges. Battleix is definitely the best Minter program to date, and is one of the best games I've seen this year with its many aspects: shoot 'em up, psych, gravities, reaction and general way outness, the 5 separate sub-games and pause mode all combined to make an excellent and incredibly absorbing game. Yeah, it was kinda just it was a bundle of 5 little sub-games. Technically, they were really, really good. I never really quite got it. Nah, never really quite got it. Gary Penn, Jeff Minter continues where he left off, and Cipital has produced yet another original quality shoot 'em up. Not only is it his best game yet, it's also one of the most impressive programs I've seen in the Commodore 64. Yeah, it's a lovely looking game, but like I said, I don't know, I just didn't really get it. And it was Gary Liddon saying, "Mamma mia, what has Jeff Minter done? Simple, he's taken revenge, altered the music, graphics, level select and control method, and then thrown in the disc in the bin and written Battlex instead. Battlex is certainly Lamisov's best creation to date, and though being totally original to play, it incorporates all the elements that have made previous release hits. The game is so easily underestimated and takes a lot of play to realise its strategic qualities. Personally, I really liked Scipio on the Run. So yeah, it's definitely, yeah, what does it get? 94%. If you've never played it, go and check it out. Wizard's Lair Bubble Bus, I think it was. Yeah, it certainly was. Black and white advert though. Zyto, never heard of that, by Rabbit Software, 40%. Can't even tell what that's supposed to be. Is that a heart or something at the bottom? A kidney bean possibly? This game is rather odd, a little game which took me quite a while to get into because the instructions aren't exactly the apex in game playing information. Once I'd finally found out what to do, I didn't really want to play the game again. It's not exactly bad as such, but it does have many niggly bits like the wobbly scrolling and the rather uncontrollable rocket. Zyto is worth playing once I suppose, but there's not much to hold the interest afterwards. How much was it? Did it tell you? Was it a budget game? No, it says there twice the going rate for a budget game and not even as good as most, so I don't know how much it would be, it doesn't actually tell you there. Yeah, certainly not one to look at. Euromax joysticks, there are joysticks and there are Euromax joysticks. I remember seeing these, that one looked very much like, I can't remember, joystick. Frank Bruno's Boxing. It was a game that I remember seeing it on my mate's Spectrum and it looked awesome, it really did. But I don't know, the C64 one, it just didn't really live up to the what we're hoping for. I mean, what was Gary Liddon saying? There seems to be a glut of boxing games recently, and each one seems to be nearly as bad as the other. Frank Bruno's Boxing is no exception to this rule. The presentation is extremely good, packed with hundreds of little touches. Playing the game is near impossible with the annoying control system used. The loading system is also amazingly cumbersome. Once you get into the game, you soon find it to be repetitive despite the different boxers. The action merely getting progressively harder till impossible. What I did like was the loading music, a very good version of TransX living on videos. Those hardly makes it worth shelling out hard-earned cash. Frank Bruno's Boxing has been long awaited by many since its announcement some months back. Then with only Alligator's Knockout to threaten it in the boxing game field, it would have taken the market by storm. Since then, both Barry McGuigan's and Fight Night have been released and both are much better with more depth, better gameplay and graphics. Yeah, it looked nice, but it just didn't really live up to the hype. There we go, Doriath by Rabbit Software. This is quite a gruesome game. The graphics are very poor with badly animated single colour sprites and a grating tune, contrary to what the cassette box says. I don't remember that one, it's 47%. The Secret Diary of Adrian Mole, aged 13 and 3/4. It's based on the TV programme of the same name. Codename Matt. That was a game I always associate being in the Spectrum. I don't even remember anything about it. Yeah, Codename Matt 2 recently released on both the Spectrum and Amstrad is curiously misnamed on the Commodore, seeing as how its predecessor Codename Matt never appeared on the C64. I've played so many of these type of games that playing yet another Save the Galaxy single-handed job really gets to me. It's not as if this one offers anything special. Yeah, don't remember that one at all, other than it was set in space. Topper the Copper. Kinda looks like a cheapo Thing in a Spring. Well, there you go, Gary Liddon saying that. If you imagine Thing in a Spring with everything that was good in it taken out and replaced by something inferior, you would have Topper the Copper. £8.95 as well. Ah, Cascade Cassette 50. Yeah, I mean, look at, basically it was 50 of the shittest games you could ever imagine. But the big thing was you got a watch, a calculator watch. It was only £9.95. you look at how many actual platforms are released on cassette 50s available on the Dragon, Atari, BBC, Atari, Dragon, Electron, VIC-20, Oric, ZX81, Apple, Atmos, Amstrad, Commodore 64, and even as a kid, or as somebody who, you know, back in 1985, you just knew it was going to be crap. Spy's Demise, Spy Strikes Back. Now wait a minute, is this not... Right, sorry, you know what I thought this was? I thought this was Spy v Spy. It's not. It looks like some kind of strategy spy game. 10%. There you go. Enough said. Who Dares Wins 2. Interestingly, that game it actually came out just before Commando was released. Now that was obviously deliberate I should say, because obviously, what do you call them? Elite Software got the license for Commando, and then these guys, the cheeky buggers, went and released this. But apparently they took action against them, and they had to kind of change the game because obviously they were just ripping off the arcade game. So you can understand why Elite did get a bit annoyed. But saying that, Who Dares Wins 2 is actually a really good game. I still prefer the original Commando, I've got to say. Though some would argue that that's actually the better game. Monty on the Run, that's what you call a nice big double spread advert. Absolutely cracking game, it really is. Not a lot to choose between them. I mean, obviously the C64 has just about the best, well, in fact, in my opinion, it is the best music track that was ever released for the C64. You know what's sort of interesting is they don't even mention the music in this. You'd think they would, because I mean it was just an absolute awesome track, it really was. Ace. Now, considering Cascade made the cassette 50, you would just automatically assume that every game was going to be a pile of crap. But they went along and released this game, which is actually really, really good. Let's see what Mr. Rignall is saying. This is without a doubt the most exciting flight sim on the C64 to date. The graphics are excellent, with extremely fast update on the horizon and very realistic ground 3D with trees, mountains and the enemy forces all zooming up to you at high speed. There are many really original aspects to the game itself, like the brilliant mid-air refueling, an exciting sequence, the 2-player option and the excellent rear view camera. These touches push Ace a notch above the rest. Don't be put off by the fact that it's classified as a flight simulator. It's more of a true to life shoot 'em up, since it's so easy to fly and the game has scoring. So yeah, you know what, I'll make you actually visit that game for a 10-minute mashup, I think. And the Mighty Elite. Cracking game that. Don't need to say any more about it other than if you've never played Elite on the 8-bit, go and rectify that now. Z. Now, Chris Butler, he did Space Harrier. Now this was one of his first games. And again, it's not a game I've played much, but I do remember playing it at the time. And it's a really, really nice game. These sort of 3D games are all the rage at the moment, and I love them. Ever since Time Pilot 64, Star Force and Nova hit the arcades, there has been a distinct bias towards the 3D bas relief effect on anything possible. Z itself has brilliant graphics and plays very similar to Hyper Circuit. The only really moan about the game is a lack of extra lives. This shortens play considerably and also cuts down on those massive scores. Apart from that, it's ace and will definitely take several sessions to crack. I'm really glad shoot 'em ups are coming back into fashion, and Z is certainly one of the better ones. Yeah, really nice graphics. Lord of the Rings by Melbourne House. Rupert and Nice Palace. Lovely, lovely graphics, but I actually thought I got a better. There we go. I think, yeah, it must have been. I always remember one of the Rupert games got a really good review, so it must have been Toy Maker's Party. It don't seem like it. Graphics are lovely. You kind of use that little that technique that Ocean Imagine used, where they kind of draw a black outline. They have an expanded sprite, and then they overlay a black outline, which kind of makes it look super detailed. At last you can really fly. There we go. There's Ace. Crazy Comets. Basically it's a rip-off of Mad Planets, which was released in the arcade. It's got a really, really good Rob Hubbard soundtrack. Yep, it's an excellent version, definitely worth playing. Ooh, Black Witch Ultimate Play of the Game. Now, as we all know, Ultimate made some amazing games for the Spectrum. Sadly, the games they released on the Commodore 64, they favoured this sort of sprawling adventure, graphic adventure. But the thing about it, that wouldn't in itself be a bad thing, but the thing about it, the sprites were just ugly as anything. They were big expanded sprites. I mean, they're saying here graphics 79%. Stunning backgrounds are well, but the sprites are quite primitive. Yeah, that was a big problem. They look very, very ugly. Grab the Action. Is that some sort of... Well, that's just an advert for Quake -1, Rockford's Riot, and Bouncer by Monolith. Beyond, bumper Christmas range of challenging software. Yeah, they did some kind of adventure-y type games. I mean, Superman, don't really remember much about it. Challenge, what's it called? Sorcerer Shadow. Enigma Force, which I think was the sequel to Shadowfire. And then you had Spy v Spy. Nice advert, I must admit. F-15 Strike Eagle. Microprose, yeah, they did a lot of... It was pretty much all strategy games. They did a lot of flight sim games. I mean, Mig Alley Ace, Solo Flight, which was a nice game for the time. Kennedy Approach, which was one of my... I loved it. I really need to do a Microprose. They did what video? NATO Commander. Again, it was another sort of war type strategy game. Zzap Flash, the journalist's tale. We've been following the epic struggle of Andrew Braybrook and his Paradroid programmer's log in this humble organ. Now for a new voice, the last link before the customer gets your hands on his work. Yes, this is the pocket diary of a hack. I'm not going to bother reading through that. Harvey Smith. Is he still alive? I think he's dead actually. He was a really famous show jumper. Show jumping's not really it's not really a sport that many humble working class people get into. Newsflash, Full House Melbourne House has got a busy time ahead of them with no less than 6 new releases due before Christmas. First there's Starion. I was actually talking about that game on my Friday Waffle. An arcade game requiring quite a bit more than your average shoot 'em up with 243 zones of blasting and anagram solving. Yeah, it was quite a bizarre game. It was a space kind of shoot 'em up, but you had to solve puzzles. I always remember my mate. It was on the Spectrum and it actually looked pretty good. The C64 one wasn't as good. I've actually got that Conix Speed King, and I don't know whether it's just badly worn, but it's not a very... It looks nice, but yeah. Oh, there we go. There's Who Dares Wins. The arcade game Commando will be officially bursting onto your screens later this year, as Elite have purchased the rights to perform the translation from arcade to home machine. This is one game that has sparked off quite a bit of controversy, as some news readers say, as far as a computer version goes, Alligator first produced a game called Who Dares Wins, which was in some way similar to the aforementioned arcade game. Having acquired the home computer rights to convert the arcade classic, Elite decided that Alligator's game was sufficiently similar to the original as to infringe their copyright, and so it promptly sought and gained an injunction to stop it being distributed. Alligator then had the game rewritten and re-released under the title Who Dares Wins 2, and everything now seems hunky-dory. Don't know why, because it's still pretty much its Commando. Right, what's this? Zzap Rap. That was Zzap Rap up there. No, it's not. Right, this is the question page. I always like to read a few. Armadale. That's literally 5 minutes for me. Dear Zzap64, I've had enough. Your Zap has went from an interesting read to, dare I say, a political column in the Observer. Between the constant defending, attacking of Jeff Minter and the great computer and video games controversy, our rap has went to the dogs. In issue 1 it was an interesting, funny read, but now it's unbearable due to the number of letters on this subject. Give us back hamsters, mudders, many raven, most of the specky slaggings. I may be alone in the last request, but I love the degrading of the world's most expensive Dunlop. Gutty. For the uneducated, that means train. Paul Brady of Armadale. What's that? Codename Matt, which we looked at earlier on. We're annoyed, nay, we are revolting. Do our eyes deceive? We have waited 5 months in vain hope, but the time has come to speak up. This time it's a warning. If this continues, we shall act swiftly and fast. Some of the layers are just absolutely garbage. What is this? More live wire hats. More live wire hits from the computer dreamland. Ollie Follies, Beer Belly, Burt's Brew Buzz, Nuclear Nick, and Scooter. International Karate, which many would say is the probably pinnacle of one-on-one fighting games, though some would probably say International Karate Plus, but I still prefer Way of the Exploding Fist. It was the first one. There's just something about it which I always think I preferred it, though that might be technically a better one. Evesham Micros Freeze Frame, that was the bad boy that I bought. It was an amazing cartridge. It basically allowed you to save any game onto disc and then reload it. It would save them onto disc and put a little menu. Activision, whoops a daisy. Activision presents 2 great titles from Lucasfilm games. Ball Blazer, I'm not going to say too much about it. There again, by the time this video comes out, I've already put another video out. Yeah, if you watched my Lacosa and Mainmeister collab video, you'll know what I'm talking about. We were not a fan of this game. It was a game that I think it relied too much on the graphics. That's what sold the game. Ultimately, after it was quite dull, I never really got it. Kronos Rift, again, it was a very, very impressive looking game, but I never really got into it at all, I must admit. Knight Rider, dearie me, oops. Just you and a car named Kit. Look at David Hasselhoff, looking all nice and shiny with his fake tie. I don't even know, did that game ever get released? I don't think it did. If it did, it was awful. Right, bored with shoot 'em up Space Invaders, then it's time to venture into the unknown with some extremely dull adventure games. This was part of the magazine where I would skip over rather quickly because this is all just this is Zoids. This is a game which again featured in the recent video that I put out. Yeah, Zoids was a kind of robot. It was a child's game basically, and it wasn't a good idea for a computer game. Now this game always looked really impressive. Electra Glide. Now I remember playing it. I didn't play it. I remember seeing it running on. There was a guy that used to go to the computer club, and he had an Atari, and he used to always have this running. It did look really, really impressive. Yeah, the different colours. See, that could not be a Commodore 64 because it doesn't have all these different colours. Friday the 13th, a computer game. The only thing to be scared of is the actual game itself because it was awful. Absolute awful. Young Ones, oh dearie me, that was... Young Ones was... It was a really, it was an original TV programme. It was quite it was out there at the time. As a kid you felt quite that you were a bit of an anarchist even watching it. It was when the punk era was still in full flow, punk music was in the charts, and you know, they brought out this Young Ones computer game, and quite frankly it was just absolute pants. I mean, it was an adventure game, and you had this little real basic animation where the characters would walk back and forwards. It was absolute garbage. Just to pick what you wanted to do. Complete waste of time. Interestingly, Zoids by Martek. So that game actually came out. It came out by Martek, and also was it Denton Designs? I think it was. Interesting. The Ultimate Games of the Commodore 64. Saberwolf and Underworld. That was two games that did get ported because they weren't 3D. And to be fair, the versions that came out in C64 were actually okay. Though again, I still think the Spectrum is kind of where it should be. Right, we're not going to go reading any of this. This is some kids games by the looks of things. Yeah, nice graphics. Mr. Men, Orman Cheap. Nah, you're alright. Yeah, Kung Fu. That was one of the most hotly anticipated games for the C64. Well, probably for the Spectrum as well. I was just so excited about getting this game. And fortunately, it turned out that it was actually a really good game. Wizardry. Yeah, I remember. It looked nice. It did look really nice. Again, it was slightly too kind of adventure-y for me. Fighting Warrior, dearie me. It was kind of being touted as a sort of sequel of sorts to Exploding Fist, or maybe it wasn't. But the fact that this came out after Exploding Fist, we thought it was going to be amazing. I mean, look at that picture there. It looks really good. You've got a big sword. You're fighting this big demonic bird thing. But the reality was, it was just rubbish. It had something like 2 different moves. Awful, terrible game. Zzap tips from the Pen of Pen. Okay. So there aren't many tips this month, but what there are, or what is here, is pretty good. I mean, just look at these exclusives. Ripley's Days Out. Tips from the author Andrew Brayrook. You can get more. Can't get more definitive than that. Yes. Racing Destruction Set. Loved that game. Absolutely loved it. It's not a game I'd want to play in cassette because it kind of constantly have to reload things. So I would imagine playing on a tape, you'd have to reload and rewind and whatever. I had it on disc. I really wish I'd still kept it. It was a great game. It was really primitive looking, but there was just something about it. It was an excellent game. Really good. Saberwolf the map. No thanks. I could never understand people who had the patience to do that. Now, I thought that was something extremely inappropriate, but anyway, that's just probably my dirty mind. But yeah, kudos to people who did have the patience to do that. This is the only warning you'll get, they're coming. What's this? Is it for a joystick? Firebird? No, it's not. It's for a game. Summer Games. Summer Games 2. Did you know that if you press a Commodore key during a fencing match, the bout will end, and depending upon the situation, a win, draw or loss will be decided? You did. In that case, I won't bother telling you. Graham Gucci's Test Cricket. Nobody cares. Zzap 64 binders. What's this here? What about it? How do you get there? A number of people have been asking about which space. What is it? How do you get there? Are you sure it's spelt which? Now, how again? Yeah, hyperspace, holding down the control key in the process, and before you know it, core blimey. As it happens, you find yourself in which space, which plenty of friendly Thargoids for company. Yeah, I remember getting into that accidentally, and you basically just get killed because you've got all these Thargoids around you. Imhotep, absolutely god-awful game. Nice advert, but the game was terrible. Shadowfire Tuner? What? Alright, so this was kind of an... Alright, this was like an add-on for Shadowfire, interestingly. The tuner is quite simply a piece of software that allows you to create or amend your own save games. If that doesn't sound particularly particularly inspiring, and consider this. With the aid of the tuner, you can virtually rewrite the original Shadowfire game to your own specifications. Interesting. That was something I never ever knew existed. And School Days 64. Rock and Wrestle. Again, Rock and Wrestle, it was written by Melbourne House, and you know, because Way of the Exploding Fist was such a cracking game, we thought that this was going to be good. To be fair, it's not a bad game. The graphics are horrendous, they're really blocky, but it did play pretty well. I mean, if you read the advert, Rock and Wrestle, the first truly three-dimensional combat sports simulation game. No, it's not true 3 dimensions. It was more kind of in fact, it wasn't even isometric. You could move in and out of the screen, up, down, left, and right. That's not 3D. But it's not. I remember thinking it was terrible at the time. I have played it recently, and it's not quite as bad as I remember it. And that, my friends, is a haircut. That is David Crane, author of Pitfall, Pitfall 2, The Little Computer People, Activision Decathlon, you name it. And also Ghostbusters, how could we forget? And that's a little Computer People. Yeah, if you've never seen that game, it's not a game, it's a simulation. Looking at it now, it is basic, but back then it was a breath of fresh air. Basically, you loaded the game and you got this little house, and then you got a little guy, a little computer person who moved into the house. Now, apparently every single person was different. No two would look the same. They had different personalities. I don't know how much truth is in that. But it was an interesting little game. You could kind of you could communicate it, you could play games with it. You had a little dog which you had to feed as well. It was a wonderful thing. I mean, now it's basic, but it was an interesting little game of the time. There's Scarabeus by Areola Soft. BC's Quest for Tyres, a lovely little game that. Quite a basic game, but really good fun. And you had the Zzap Challenge. Basically, this is where a member of the public would take on either one of the Zzap guys, usually Julian Rignall, because I think he was probably the best player. They'd take him on. I think the guy here, I think the member of the public would nominate games, I think, and then obviously play them against the Zzap guys. Mr. Rignall and Mr. Penn. Look how young they look. I mean, they're probably about 17 years old. Odin graphics. Robin of the Wood. That, my friends, is one of the few games I've actually completed. The Score Lord speaketh. Let's have a look and see if we can see any of our friends below Max. I never ever sent a score in. Crazy comments. Gary Penn's actually got higher score than Julian Rignall, so there you go. Again, Gary Penn is better at Entombed than Julian Rignall. Slinky, blimey, Julian Rignall scored 100 million. Super Pipeline 2. Awesome. They sold 1 million. I was going to say that's quite a good compilation. Jet Set Willy in the C64, not a fan. Decathlon in the C64, it's okay. Beachhead is a cracking game. Sabre Wolf Stuff nothing. Wouldn't have bought that back in the day. I think Beachhead is probably about the best. Funko Bop Corner, gold medal. So it was basically a music sequencer. Interesting. Wizard, pure magic for your Commodore 64 disc and cassette. Wizard is one of those flash American games that does everything the way it should. It's a heavy dose of magic that should be fun for years to come. Said Max from your 64. Burn some joysticks with this classic shoot 'em up. Mad Planets again, I think it is. Schizophrenia, I do remember. I remember that review, yeah, 50%. It just looks terrible. That's the thing about the C64. The graphics could have been amazing, but some software companies just never made the effort. They used expanded sprites, probably because it was a lot easier, and the resulting game was just awful. Mugsy's Revenge. I remember playing and seeing the original Mugsy on the Spectrum, and it did have some really nice cutscenes. It was kind of like a sort of an interactive cartoon. That's probably the best way to describe it. The Young Ones, yeah, less said about that the better, I would think. The music system. Look at the price. Blimey. $39.95. Now that was back in 1985. That was a lot of money. I mean, I don't know. That would probably be the equivalent of about, I don't know, a couple £100, I reckon. Serious money. Zzap Stick joystick review. Quick Shot 1, 53%. Quick Shot 2, 62%. The Joy Card. Like Hudson Soft, interesting. Hudson Soft who do Bomberman and Bonk, and the best flat controllers because the gamepad didn't really exist back then. Arcade Hall of Fame, Spy Hunter good game, Tapper good game, Up and Down, Aztec Challenge not bad, and Blue Max is another good game. So yeah, some decent games there. Bring the world of Commodore 64 software right to your fingertips. So basically this is where you could get your Zzap magazine delivered. Which I did. Adventure International brings you the ultimate in graphic adventures for those long winter nights. Gremlins, Robin of Sherwood. Quest Probe, was it featuring Human Torch and the Thing, Sea of Blood? Yeah, I was never a fan of the second half of Zzap because it was kinda all like adventure-y stuff, which really did absolutely nothing for me at all. Yeah, Never Ending Story, Terra Malinas, that was by Melbourne House again, it certainly was. Nah, never a fan. Even when I had the magazine back in the day, I would just skip through it. I just found it all too boring. The fact it was all black and white as well never really made it something that appealed to me at all. Daley Thompson's Super Test, the successor to Daley Thompson's Decathlon. I don't even think I had that. I have played it since, and it's alright. That's about all I'm going to say about it. Zorro, again, it was kind of the spiritual successor to Bruce Lee, but it fell flat. I don't know what it was. It just didn't have the same fun as Bruce Lee, but yeah, more adventure stuff. Let's just swiftly move on. Decision in the Desert. That's not a title that's really going to grab you. So it looks like it's it's a, what's it going to say here? It's a war, again a Micropose game, a war simulation type thing. Battle Axe, there we go, C64. 6 unique games in one. Hallucin O'Bomblitz, Attack of the Mutant Camels 2, the activation of Aristus Base, Scipio on the Run, Synchro 2 and Psychic. And it was published by, by Lamasoft. Battle for Midway, yeah, PSS, they did all these sort of war games. Again, they weren't really my thing. But, you know what, I had a big following, obviously really popular. I would guess it was probably the more sort of mature player. The second ever Zzap quiz, let's give it a go. What game was referred to as the new Miner 2049er? Manic Miner possibly? This triumph of gaming and common sense should prove the most popular began. Right, I'm not going to know this because I've not read the magazine. Who converted the 64-hit Spy Hunter onto the Spectrum? Ooh, I'm not sure actually. Anyway, enough of that. Join the communications revolution. A Commodore modem, 3 months basic subscription to CompuNet. The CompuNet was basically the internet for the Commodore 64, but it was just a series of pages where people would post messages, and you could also download little programs, music and that kind of stuff. And the thing is, as well, as it cost an absolute fortune. When it was plugged into your mum and dad's TV, plugged into your mum and dad's telephone socket, you know, you'd have to pay for the call as well, and it wasn't cheap. But there was always lots of stuff like this. There was always like pictures you could download, and like I said, there was some the Mighty Bog who did some classic SID tunes. He put all this stuff in CompuNet. There we go. If you want to look extremely fashionable, you can get this dandy Monty on the Run sweat top. Blank discs. Nobody had a disc drive back then. Well, maybe no. In fact, I'm talking rubbish. I think I did actually. I did. Yeah, I did. I did have my thing. Right, Zzap Reader's top 30. Summer Games 2, Waves Exploding Fist, Elite, Drop Zone, Frankie Goes to Hollywood, Pit Stop. Yeah, this was the real glory days of the C64 in my opinion. Cracking games. International Basketball's another really good game. Oops. And there's another advert for Ace magazine and also Cascade 50. No, there you go. Order Ace and receive this. So you could actually buy. You could buy Ace and then also get the free. That's actually a really good deal because you're getting a really good game as well. Basically, you're getting the watch completely for nothing. Who Dares wins 2. Look at it. These screenshots are horrible. Look at them. That's purple and that's grey. Yeah, 90%. This is a highly original arcade style shoot 'em up, which in some respects looks similar to the first screen of an old arcade classic. Frontline. Blasting enemies is the name of the game, and it's all done in real gory style. Fantastic. Yeah, good game. If you've never played it, definitely worth checking out. Fight Night. Yeah, as I've already said, it looks awesome. It's very, very, very basic. What's this? Eye of the Mask. Interestingly, I don't think. Well, it was released in the Commodore 64. I thought it only came in the Spectrum. I was going to say, why are they advertising a Spectrum only game on the C64? But there you go. What do I know? Colossus 4 chess. Yep. Yeah, not Spectrum games. Chess games were mega popular back in the 8-bits. Some of the real early games. I never could ever beat them. Super Silver Range by Firebird Software, Chimera, Willow Pattern, Thunderbirds. I think I bought them all actually. The Terminal Man. Yeah, this was basically a comic strip that drawn by Oliver Free. I mean, not the graphics. It does look really good, but I never read it. I wasn't interested in it at all, and not in the slightest. Yak's Progress. That's a good buy. You're basically getting Attack of the Mutant Camels, Matrix, Laser Zone, Hover Bother, Revenge of the Mutant Camels, Sheep in Space, Metagalactic Llamas and Incipitable, all for the price of what? 2 tapes, $9.95. That's excellent. And the Goonies. I've actually never seen that film, as I keep mentioning before. Never seen it. Not got any interest in watching it either. And finally, we've got an advert for the yet to be released at this point. You see, they use that there. That looks really impressive. That's more like a painting of the arcade machine. But yeah, cracking game. So anyway, guys, listen, that is another video drawn to a close. If there's a magazine you want to see me feature in this feature, please just put your comments below and I will see what I can do. And as always, guys, thank you very much for watching.